Am I the a-hole for giving the vacation of my ex-fiancé 24 female dreams to her sister and husband? I, 26 male, met my ex's sister in high school when she started dating my best friend. During our senior year, she got pregnant and they married soon after. After high school, I joined the military. I served 6 years before getting medically discharged. Ex and I started dating. I got a good job that would have me leave a couple times a month up to 10 days at a time. While doing last-minute wedding planning, a text from her sister popped up asking, "Have you told Opie about what you did with your ex? If you don't do it tonight, I will tomorrow." I asked her what that was, and she tried to play it off. I kept pressing her and she said that during their bachelorette party, she ran into him but nothing happened. It was an obvious lie, so I went through her phone when she fell asleep. There was text and pictures with him all the way back from when we started dating. They would hook up every time I went on work trips. Then I sent proof to my phone. I woke her up, kicked her out, and ended the relationship. She did a cheater's script. The usual excuses, but I told her Stephanie looked a lot like her ex-boyfriend and showed her one of the screenshots of them together in bed. She started to cry and I gently got her out the door. I canceled all wedding plans and needed some help calling guests to inform them the wedding was off. My friend's wife said that during the bachelorette party, she caught them sneaking away and having intimate time. When she confronted them, she gave my ex the option of coming clean to me herself, or she would do it. She did not know it was an ongoing thing. Now on to our honeymoon vacation. I had planned it so that it would be perfect for my ex. It was a 10-day trip to another country that she has always said was a once-in-a-lifetime bucket list place. There were nice hotels, amazing experiences, and overall her dream vacation. I was already out about 10 grand for the wedding, and more if I canceled the honeymoon trip. So, I made a decision to offer it up to them, since I knew that they never had a honeymoon or any real vacation since they got married young and had kids. Also, they just saved me money and time. They accepted. They were able to get the time off work and had made arrangements for the kids for the trip. My ex found out about it and she flipped out and was calling me and texting me about how much of an a-hole I am for doing that to her. How I knew that it was her dream vacation. How I ruined her life. I also got messages from her friends and some of her family that she lied to and blaming me for the breakup. Her ex even texted me saying that I'm not a real man and then threatened me. She must have gone there last night as he shouldn't have my number. I have not responded to them at all. But am I the a-hole for giving my cheating ex-fiancé's dream honeymoon to her sister and my best friend? Now for the top comments. Take the threat to the police. You owe your cheating ex literally nothing, not the a-hole. Message the ex telling her that Opie will send the full collection of screenshots, minus the photos obviously, to anyone that harasses him over it. That will shut her up real quick. She and her ex actually have the nerve to harass Opie over this? Unreal. I hope her sister will have the best time and won't stop talking about the awesome vacation for years, not the a-hole. And posts lots of pictures on Facebook. The freaking audacity. Her affair partner telling Opie he did something wrong? Look at yourself, bro. You're the one who has been getting it with somebody else's fiancé. I'm not a violent person, but that would make my blood boil. Like, I'd be debating finding this person's family, friends, and boss and sending them the screenshots minus pictures. Hey, y'all know this guy? He's threatening me after he's been sleeping with my fiancé. Just a heads up, I'm going to the cops, so y'all might not see him for a bit. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not lying for my wife in front of her friends regarding me being a stay-at-home parent? When my wife and I decided to start a family, she expressed she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So, we made a plan and set everything up so that she could stay home during the early years. We had our first kid, but she didn't do too well being the stay-at-home parent and had a hard time with it. We still wanted our kids to have a parent at home with them, so we swapped out since her salary was close to mine. 2 kids later and I'm still the stay-at-home dad, working reduced hours remotely. For me personally, it's easier than any job I've had in the past, even the manual labor one, but I recognize that that's just my personal experience. We've touched base on the issue a few times to make sure there's no resentment, guilt, or discomfort on either of our parts. Now, one of her friends from her work invited us and other couples over for dinner. While there, the other couples were talking about childcare in general and some of the women started sharing their experiences of when they were home. My wife was talking about how she had disliked it and mentioned our arrangement, when one of the women said to me, "Oh, I know you're just itching to get back to having it easy." I responded that I already have it easy, and that for me, being a stay-at-home dad was a cakewalk compared to my office job. I didn't see the point in agreeing with something that just isn't true for me. On the way home, my wife asked why couldn't I just agree with the question and played along. I asked her if she felt bad or guilty that she had a hard time with it, and she said no. So I told her to just forget about it then, because there's no reason for me to lie to make a bunch of other people feel better, so long as it's fine between us. When she got home from work yesterday, she had some attitude, asking me if I had another easy-peasy day, and told me how all day she had to hear from her friends what a smug a-hole I was for making light of their experiences by saying it was a cakewalk. I get that for a lot of people it's hard, but I don't see why I should have to lie about it or fluff someone's ego for not feeling the same way. Am I the a-hole? Additional info. The scheduling, making appointments, taking kids where they need to be, grocery list, school stuff, making sure payments for bills came out, vehicle maintenance, organizing our date nights, finding babysitters, figuring out what needs to be done, falls on me. She keeps tracks of dates important to her family. I keep tracks of dates important to us and my side of the family. I am very detail-oriented. I've done all of that throughout our relationship. We do grocery shopping together on the weekend. I'm interested to know who did all the laundry and housework and cooking. Did this fall to Opie as well? Yes, I do the majority of housework and yard work, all cooking 5 days a week while we share it on weekends, and she only has to put the laundry away once it's already washed and folded. Not the a-hole. When you are doing something you love, it feels easy. I would be so happy if people stopped saying things like this. Along with, do what you love and it will never feel like work. It's simply not true. Loving something will not magically make a hard task easy, it just makes it worth it. Opie happens to find being a stay-at-home parent easy. Nowhere in the post even does he say he loves doing it. He simply says compared to his office job, it's easier. But it's true for some people. Maybe not you, but everyone is different. Just because a phrase doesn't relate to you doesn't make it untrue. I love what I do, both for a career and for my hobby. It doesn't make either of them easy. That being said, some things just come naturally to some people and childcare seems to come naturally to Opie. Not the a-hole. People were sharing their experience, and you shared yours. Simple as that. You're only allowed to share your experience if it validates theirs. We're in 2023. Anything that makes people uncomfortable should be canceled. Opie can disagree and share his experience without the prickish delivery. I personally 100% agree with his sentiments about stay-at-home parent life. He doesn't have to play along, but should be diplomatic. Just say he really enjoys it and is happy with this balance of part-time work/childcare. End of. Imagine if you told someone that you struggled with your coursework, and you bet they are glad they already graduated and don't have to do exams anymore. A response of, oh, not for me, it was a cakewalk doesn't seem arrogant to you, like they are claiming some great superiority of intelligence and ability? This is what Opie did with his phrasing. A little bit of social skills can go a long way. I don't actually really enjoy it though. It's easier in comparison. It's not misery, but it's not wholly enjoyable. Yet that doesn't mean I'm counting down the days to get back to work for something easier, as she insinuated. Next story. Am I the a-hole for asking my sister what she expected after my daughter didn't invite her to her birthday? My 32 female daughter, 16 female, grew up extremely close to my sister, 23 female, because of how small the age gap between them is, and my sister got married in September. However, she decided to have a child-free wedding, and my daughter was not invited. My daughter was extremely upset about this, as my sister always talked about how important my daughter being at her wedding was going to be, and her wedding being child-free completely came out of left field. Recently, my daughter's 16th birthday passed, and she decided to have a small party with me, as well as her father and a couple of other close family and friends. My sister wasn't invited. And when she asked me what time she should show up, I told her that my daughter was still upset about not being invited to one of her most important events. My sister got upset, asking why I was letting my daughter punish her because she had her wedding how she wanted it. I asked what she expected, knowing how close she and my daughter are, and told her she should have known that my daughter would be upset about it. My daughter had a blast at her party, and my sister is still being passive-aggressive towards me and husband. I know it's my daughter's party, and it's supposed to be about her, but my sister's behavior is making me feel doubtful about my decision. So am I the a-hole? Edit. I did initially bring up that my daughter not being invited upset her, but my sister told she wanted the freedom to go wild at her wedding and that my daughter would eventually get over it. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your sister got to decide how she wanted her wedding. Your daughter gets to decide how she wants her party. Tit for tat. I hope your sister learns a lesson. The way she is acting, I have a feeling she won't, but I'm sure she will get over it. It's interesting that sister's feelings are important, but the daughter/nieces aren't. Well, she will learn that actions have consequences. It's fine if she didn't want her niece at the wedding, but she can't then be surprised her niece doesn't want her around when she's still feeling hurt. You have to accept that your decisions won't be liked by everyone, but you have to live with less than perfect relationships due to that. I am all for child-free weddings. I also understand that Denise feels hurt that her aunt didn't want her there on her special day. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Your daughter was simply also having her party how she wanted. Child-free weddings are fine to have, but clearly your daughter was hurt by this, and she is allowed to be, and her feelings are valid. Your sister needs to recognize that her choice hurt your daughter. Child-free, I understand, but considering a 16-year-old you were supposedly close with as a child is an insult. I think it's very good that Opie's standing with her daughter. It kind of reminds me of that story of the 21-year-old not wanting her 20-year-old friend at her wedding because she was too young to drink. It must be a slap in the face for someone you considered a peer to suddenly deem you as a child. Sister is not an a-hole for wanting a child-free wedding, but surely this would affect their relationship. Aunt made it clear that niece is ultimately a bracket beneath her, which isn't wrong, but it's going to be obvious now in a way it wasn't before. Not the a-hole. Well done in supporting your daughter in this. Your sister got to have the wedding she wanted, and that's great for her, but her choices have consequences and it's not up to you to protect her from them. Last story. Am I the a-hole because our baby ate off our plates? Today was my brother-in-law's birthday and we had a family dinner. There was the birthday boy, his girlfriend, my husband, me, our baby, their parents, uncle and aunt. We went to a Mexican restaurant and I had steak fajitas. Our baby likes to eat off our plates. He grabbed one of my tortillas, so I tore it into strips for him. He also ate the grilled tomatoes, peppers, and onions off of my skillet and grabbed a piece of steak to suck on. Brother-in-law's girlfriend said that it was unappetizing to see our baby grabbing food off of my plate and giving her anxiety as well because she was worried he would choke. I told her to look at her own plate instead of mine. She was somewhat put out when I said that. Halfway through the meal, my husband took the baby so I could focus on my food and socialize a bit. And baby went to town on hubby's leftover chicken quesadilla. Again, brother-in-law's girlfriend said she was anxious and put off her food. My husband just shrugged at her. After dinner, everyone else was using the restroom and it was the two of us watching everyone's stuff. She told me I was very rude of her and that she was unable to enjoy her boyfriend's birthday because of our poor table manners. I said she should have focused on her boyfriend and her own meal instead of what my husband and I were doing. She said I was a very selfish person. I'm very irritated by the whole thing, but since she was so confident we were a-holes to her, were we? Not the a-hole. I honestly have no idea how some people survive in the world without being offended to death. Unless the baby is 7 and licking the plates while making loud slurping noises like my husband's nieces. Lol. Girlfriend is crazy. Keep your eyes on your own food. Or if she let the baby crawl across the table and grab stuff off everyone else's plates. Yeah, that would not be okay. My sister-in-law let my nieces do that to my plate and I wasn't able to eat another bite after. Doesn't sound like the baby ate off anyone else's plate though. Not the a-hole. What did she expect? Your baby to use a knife and fork and make polite conversation? Unless the baby was stealing her food or throwing it at her, she needed to mind her own business. That is what I'm wondering. Did she say what should have been going on instead? Someone should tell her that little kids eating is never a pretty sight, and she needs to get over it. I'm also disgusted if I see babies or even kids eating. Sticking their hands in their mouth to lick off the ketchup, which is a crime by itself. They dipped their arms to the elbow in, or putting it in and out of their mouth. And then there's saliva everywhere. It's disgusting. But there's nothing you can do. So just pretend like it doesn't bother you and go on with your life. Not the a-hole. My baby practically only eats off my plate, even if I give her the exact same thing. She wants to grab it herself, from my plate. The comments about choking seems like the kind of veiled judginess you only get from non-parents who don't actually know anything about babies. Honestly, this is one of the best ways to make sure your kids aren't picky eaters from what I've seen. Put them on your lap, let them grab and sample whatever is on your plate with supervision. Way better at expanding their palate than the bland kiddie menus.